There is a unique moment in business, a quiet and almost invisible shift when everything suddenly becomes clear. It's not because your surroundings have changed or because you've suddenly worked harder, but simply because your perspective has shifted. That moment when you say, so this is how it really works. This moment of clarity is powerful, and it can transform the way you approach your business. Welcome to another episode of SheMeansBusiness. This is your girl Gypsy, and today we'll be talking about enlightenment shift in business. Enlightenment shift in business. When you're running a business, especially as a woman juggling many roles, you often put in a tremendous amount of effort, right? You follow, the advice, you implement strategies and stay committed, yet sometimes the results don't match the hard work, isn't it? I know that can be frustrating and confusing, right? Yeah. You might feel like you're missing something, yes? But it's not because you lack dedication or energy. Instead, it's because you haven't seen the full picture. You haven't yet experienced that moment of true understanding. And this is what I want to talk about today. The shift that happens when your eyes finally open. That turning point when you look at your business and stop to realize you've been going about things the hard way. Maybe you've been targeting the wrong audience or trying methods that no longer serve your growth. Perhaps you've been overlooking simple changes that could make a huge difference. Whatever it is, that moment of realization can change everything. But this clarity never comes from noise or constant busyness. In fact, it comes when you slow down. Sometimes it happens in moments of quiet reflection or through prayer, meditation, or worship. It's not always directly connected to business itself. Sometimes it's during those times when you're simply seeking peace or connection beyond your daily challenges. And then suddenly, like a light turning on, everything becomes clear. Everything becomes clear. You get a direct message. Do this differently. Stop doing that. Or focus here instead. Deep inside, you know what action you need to take next. It's important to remember that what worked last year might not work now. Might not work now. Because, markets do change. Customer behaviors evolve. And economic climates fluctuate. You might have been making a certain amount before, but now it feels like everything is sliding downwards or backwards, even though you are trying just as hard, as you could. This is not a failure of effort. It's a signal that you need a fresh perspective, a new sight in a way. And that is why seeking clarity is a constant process. It's not enough to be busy. You must be intentional about understanding your path and asking, what am I not seeing? What am I not seeing? There's so much waiting within the work you're already doing. More income, more ease, more direction. But you cannot tap into it until your eyes open. This reminds me of the story of Hagar in the Bible. Let's go biblical now. In Genesis 21, she's in a desert. Her water supply was exhausted. Her son was crying. And she's at the edge of giving up. But then God opens her eyes and she sees a well right beside her. Now the well wasn't new or suddenly created. That well was there all along. She just couldn't see it because her mindset was stuck in survival mode. How often do we find ourselves in similar situations, unaware that the solution is literally next to us? How many times do we miss the opportunity right there because we are too focused on what we have already done? So, how do you experience this shift? It's not about forcing a breakthrough, through brainstorming or endless strategy session. No. The real transformation comes through a shift of heart and spirit. It happens when you move beyond frantic thinking to a place of stillness. Prayer isn't just about listing requests or problems. Prayer is about aligning your spirit with something greater than yourself. When you enter that place of quiet and surrender, you often walk out feeling calm and centered. That stillness is where those aha moments are born. This can also happen in worship. When your mind moves away from the how and lands on the who, which is the greater power or purpose behind your work. You might be halfway through a song or a moment of reflection, and suddenly a strategy comes to your mind, a new approach or an idea that feels so obvious. You wonder why you haven't thought of it before. That is the moment of understanding. That is the moment your understanding is sharpened, your perspective is changed, and your path forward becomes clear. Now, when this kind of enlightenment happens, you don't just get a good idea or a helpful tip. You gain real awareness. You understand exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. This ensures you aren't late to your own breakthrough. All right? No matter how many years you've spent working on your business, you're allowed to have new beginnings. You're allowed to have new beginnings. You're allowed to pivot. You pivot. Moments where you see your business in a completely new light and recognize a fresh path to success. That is the gift of true clarity. It is not limited to spiritual gatherings or personal quiet times. It applies directly to your work week, your board meetings, and maybe your daily decisions. Your daily decisions. So, if you've been feeling stuck or like you're walking through a fog, don't try to think your way out of it with sheer willpower. Instead, take time to pause, meditate, pray, or engage in worship. Let this process sharpen your vision. There is a well in your desert, a new way to approach this season of your business. When your eyes open to it, you won't just survive. You will grow, you will innovate and scale with a sense of ease and rest. The moment of clarity is near. Can you feel it coming? That aha moment is just around the corner. Until then, please keep seeking, keep waiting on the Lord, and be ready for a whole new level of understanding to transform your business and your life. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode. Bye.